Hi everyone, Sue Matsuki for Nightlife Exchange with another Sue's Muse. Today I have a friend of mine from the National Association of Teachers of Singers, NATS. You'll be hearing us toss that word around a little bit. This is Mr. Alan Henderson. Hi Alan, welcome to the program. I'm so glad I can be with you today.
It's great to be with you, Sue.
Sorry it's so early, but hey, you have a full day of teaching to get to. Now, Alan has a background not only as currently as, our executive director of NATS, which is a very busy job, but he also is still teaches, and you have a background as a soloist. You have an association with the Met. You are a diction and foreign language coach for opera people, and you currently still teach. Tell me what teaching has meant to you over all these years when you transitioned, and I'm sure you still perform whenever you can, but what's the transition been like, and how does that feel to be rewarded as now an instructor of upcoming talent?
Well, it's always been uh, great to be able to share my knowledge and my experience. And it's also a lifelong learning venture to be a better teacher, to be a better performer. And both those things inform one another, I think, for me as a performer
Hmm.
and also as a teacher. And so it's really exciting to, share my knowledge and help students and my clients explore their voices, explore the potential they have, and to kind of, you know, peel back the layers of the onion and then really polish their voices and talk with them about what their aspirations are.
That's cool. Um, I always believe in naming and claiming, like naming a goal and then going after the goal. And even as a teacher myself, I try to form people into their goals, what their goals are. Now, how did you come to NATS? How did you become the executive director of NATS, and why? That's a big job.
Well, I fell into the job kind of. I was on the board, on the national board, serving as the secretary treasurer, and we had a an unexpected resignation of the executive director. And I was the board member who knew about the finances and was actually lived closest to the Nats office. So they asked me to be the interim for a year. And after they did a search, they came back at the end and said, well, this has been going pretty well. Would you consider keeping doing it? And so that was almost 18 and a half years ago now. So,
And did you
and it
have any
really
kind of background in administrative or management?
I do have some background in arts administration. I've been chair of two different music departments at universities. I had a cognate in arts administration in my doctorate when I was at CCM. So I've always had interest in those kind of things, and so this opportunity really played into my skill set, and it's been a joy to serve the members of NATS for all these years.
And you've been
And I
doing
grew up.
such a great job, I have to say.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I
Truly.
grew up in that, so it's my very first voice lesson. My teacher said, we do this thing called Nats here, and here's what it is." And so off I went because my teacher said so back then, and prepared my
So I'm a
song.
baby member. How long has Nats been going on for? I mean, if you,
Well, Nats was established in 1944, so it's
wow, I had
been
no
around a while.
idea.
Yeah.
And is there
It-
kind of a mission statement?
we have a longer mission statement, and we have a vision statement, and we have, all these
I'm
things.
going to do a link below to all of this. I'll have
Yeah,
links to
great.
ticket sales for the event we're gonna talk about now, and also links to nats.org and all the competitions. Now, we do a lot of different things throughout the years as educators. Coming up in January 12th, 2026, we have the National Musical Theater Competition. Talk to me about that. How long has that been going on, and where did the idea of this come from?
Well, the first competition was in 2012, I believe. And so before that, I started serving as executive director in 2007. So it wasn't long after I was there that we began talking about we've had since the 1950s a classical artist
Yes.
competition called the Nats Artist Awards. And of course, we began discussing how can we also serve the music theater community. and how can we serve young artists and emerging artists in the musical theater field? How can we support teachers and use our organization, our membership, the power of our connections to bring attention to young artists who are emerging in this field. And um, so we began talking about it, and that ended up becoming the National Musical Theater Competition. And it's been a real exciting ride so far.
Now, they have programs, not only competitions for singers where nationally teachers submit their students by video, there's auditions, which is partly what this National Musical Theater Competition is, but you also do a conference. Our next conference is in July of 2026. It's going to be in Texas, and there is an array of classes on all things musical theater, opera, classical singing, teaching in general, teaching of the voice in general. Every day there's a different class and a different topic. But I was most impressed when I went to the Chicago one a couple years back. I was most impressed with how progressive Nats is in accommodating the new wave of singers, with non-binary singers, with social and racial appropriation issues on audition material. It is a fantastic organization that really doesn't just pretend to talk about things. We talk about things, and we educate our teachers on how to deal with these arising issues that come up in the audition process for singing across the board. So there's also tell me about the Teachers Toolbox program that's happening in January.
Our winter workshop. We have a winter workshop every January, and in the even years, that becomes also when we have the finals of the Nats Artist Awards and the Nats music musical theater competitions. So we always do that in New York, and we're hosted by the Manhattan School of Music, and we use their facilities, and so it's a great home for us for a few days early in January to both have a workshop that's a long weekend and the finals of these two competitions. And so yeah, Kevin Wilson, who's our vice president for workshops, puts together the workshops that happen, and he's really curated a great workshop on the Teacher's Toolbox. It's kind of a progressive workshop that kind of builds from the beginning to the end. We have some great clinicians. You can find out about all of them on our website and check out that event. It's going to be a really great event.
Again, to all you watchers out there, I'm going to have a link to how to join NATS for anyone who is currently teaching voice. You may want to consider joining. There's a local organization here in New York, which I'm a member of, and also the national one. It's not expensive at all to join, but there's an array of opportunities, not only for you, but for your students. Now, the National Musical Theater Competition is on January 12th. At the Manhattan School of Music. And this is a series we have right now. I think we have over 202 applicants that have submitted video auditions for us. And now we have to go through and decide who the finalists are, who will actually compete in the competition. And it gets narrowed down and narrowed down and narrowed down to 5 recipients. And there is an array of prizes in the names of some of our most honored music teachers and coaches. You want to talk a little bit about who the prizes are named after? I know we have Florence Birdwell.
Sure. The first prize is named after Florence Birdwell, a distinguished teacher of many Broadway luminaries. And we just had a campaign 2 years ago and endowed that prize. So it's a really significant prize for first place. And I think I want to correct you on the date because I think it's January 5th is the finals, and not the 12th. I think we're going to be there. We're going to be in New York January 3rd through the 5th.
Okay,
Is the
I'm sorry, my
workshop.
bad.
All right. And so, yeah, Florence Birdwell is the first prize winner. Linda Snyder, I believe, is the second place. And Linda is a distinguished past president of NATS, and also,
Louise.
a teacher of musical theater for a lot of her career. The third prize is a Louise Lurch Prize. Louise was a collaborative pianist for many years and really an early um, evangelist of musical theater repertoire and encouraging teachers to find the right repertoire for their students. She regularly did a lot of repertoire classes at Nats events, which were really uh, appreciated by everyone. And we also have the Bill Hayes Prize. Bill just died recently, and um, he was a wonderful Broadway singer, and of course ended up uh, being in the industry in LA and the TV and on Days of Our Lives for forever, for all of most of our lives. So he was a wonderful person and a fabulous performer. And we are, have other prizes coming along as well that we're continuing to develop. But we invite 24 of those people to come to New York in January, and we have a semifinal round and a final round. And
January 5th, not the 12th.
yeah, and it's a really great weekend. Lots of great energy. We have a big finals event on Monday night, which is Dark Night on Broadway. So 2 years ago, we had quite a few. We have a big reception right before that.
Yeah, the reception's kind of cool because there were a lot of notable Broadway people
There were
just
a lot of
milling
notable
around,
Broadway
taking
people
pictures.
there. It was a great event, great energy, and then we all move into the hall for the finals competition, and we have some great judges, and they make the decisions, and then we give away the prizes, and so it's really great.
The judges
Great
are
event.
amazing, and Broadway notable director, producer, writer, uh, casting directors, musical theater people. I mean, it's really pretty impressive, and we're going to be announcing our host soon. 2024, we had Seth Rudetsky, who was awesome. So we're looking for that named person. And this year we're honoring the amazing Joan Lader, who had an array. She's very private about who she actually works with, and she's very private about taking credit for their names. But when I show you this, if I showed you this list, you'd be very impressed with this woman. Oh, I have another friend of ours joining us today. This is Alisa Belflower. Let me just let her in because I want to ask her a little bit about a couple of things as well. Um, Let me bring her in. So, Alan, tell me a little bit while we're here. Tell me a little bit about Joan and why we're honoring Joan this year. Hi, welcome. This is Alisa
Hi.
Bellflower, and she is the
Well,
VP of auditions of NATS.
uh, well, Elisa, it's great to see Elisa, but Joan has really been a trailblazer in the teaching profession and research. She's been involved in so many things. She's also, uh, trained and able to work with injured voices, and she's worked with the medical community quite extensively. So, while some people may just see her as a voice teacher of Broadway singers, she really is so much more than that and has contributed so much more to our global community of voice teachers and the singing community. And so it's really great to actually convince her for us to honor her because, like you said, she's a very uh, humble person and a modest person. And so we're so delighted that we can honor her at this reception before the competition finals and at the opening of the competition finals for her many contributions to our profession. And it's really great that we can honor important people in our profession and give them the attention that I think they deserve.
Awesome. Elisa, I want to ask you, as the VP of auditions for NATS, and with your extensive musical background, both as a performer and now as a teacher, you've worked with many musical theater universities, so you have all this, like Alan, all this experience to bring to the table. What We have like over 202 applicants for the National Musical Theater Competition in January. Tell me a little bit about the process and why music teachers out there should consider referring their students to this program.
The students are welcomed to enter the competition if their age is 22 to 30, and they can enter either by doing a live audition, which we're holding this weekend in Manhattan, and or they can enter by video submissions. The students are asked to enter an audition book of 7 songs, and it's very different from the typical musical theater audition because they're asked to sing for a full 10 minutes in their preliminary audition. And during that 10 minutes, they get to sing entire songs, not the typical audition cut.
Mhm.
And we're looking at both their ability to sing musical theater styles specifically, and also to portray the characters that are in the musicals for which the songs were composed and written. And so we're looking at both their acting and their singing in terms of their musical theater ability. And to have 10 minutes before a Broadway director, Broadway musical director, and a casting agent in New York is a really big advantage
Mhm.
to young students who are becoming emerging professionals who are already in the early stages of their musical theater career.
Now, as an educator, both of you can answer this. You have a student in front of you, and you're preparing them for this competition. What would your advice be? I'm assuming diversity of showing different colors in your voice, a flow of the 10-minute process. What would you advise each of them? I'll start with you, Elisa, and then I'll ask Alan the same question.
Well, in terms of the teachers, they want to advise that the students sing repertoire or songs from musicals that they would likely be considered to be cast in. And the different thing about the educational setting in musical theater is students very often are asked to play roles that they would never be considered for in professional musical theater setting because they are a limited age range, filling the whole age range needed by the musical. And when you get into the professional world, there are people who are that age who will be considered for the more mature adult roles. And so somebody younger is not likely to be considered for that role. So thinking about the age and the role itself, does the personality of the actor, singer, have within their scope that type of character matching with that type of character singing.
Mhm.
And it is just so important. One of the things the adjudicators will be scoring the students on is how likely they are to be considered in a professional setting for that role that
Mhm.
is represented by the song that they have chosen. And a lot of people in education don't necessarily think about the standards changing when you leave education and going into the professional arena for being cast in a musical. So I think the selection of repertoire is hugely important, and to make sure that it's within your range, both as an actor and as a singer. And then within that range, showing some diversity in musical style of music. We
Mhm.
have rock musicals, folk musicals, jukebox musicals,
Contemporary,
um,
traditional goes
musicals that
on.
lend towards more legit singing. And so making sure you show as much diversity as you have command over in the audition.
And Alan, what would you add to that if you were working with someone? Is there anything else you could add to how you would prep
Yeah,
someone
I
for
mean,
this?
I think Alisa says it so well, and I
Mhm.
think that on top of that, all of that is just inhabiting the character, and really having a complete performance. I think, as she says, this is different from going in for your, role auditions, your casting auditions, where you're singing a few bars. You have to have a complete package of a whole song and several whole songs, and because one of the things we do is we invite the winners to come give a concert at our national conference. So another aspect of that is being able to see that people can put together whole songs in
Mhm.
performance. And So, I do think we spend a lot of time in the educational process nowadays getting people ready for auditions, and that is extremely important. But we also need to make sure that they have the whole package and they can put the whole song together and have a dramatic arc that's appropriate to the piece and appropriate to the role in the show, etc. And so that's another part of what this competition is about. And we do get people that get mistaken. Oh, they apply and they're thinking, oh, I'll just get, my 7 cuts. And then they either read more deeply or
Right.
after they're selected for the next round, they say, "Oh, I got to sing the whole song," and so then they get, they kind of get things together and get the rest of it in. But
Mm.
um, I think that's a unique aspect of this competition that I think is important and something unique that we bring to the greater community through this competition
The
is
other thing
this
I think
idea.
that's unique is that we up the age, as Alisa just said, that from 22 to 30, which is a working professional. So these cash awards that we're giving, which are substantial, you can go on the website and the link that I'm going to post below and check out everything. But it gives someone like almost a gap year to be able to afford to pay their rent and go audition for a period of time. So our goal was to give that 22 to 30-year-old someone who's ready, who's maybe just coming out of school, or someone who's been looking for a couple years and auditioning out on the pavement, actually auditioning. So I'm very proud of that and very excited about that versus like the Jimmies, which are awesome, but for a younger group of people, because we just didn't want them to have to wait to use the money to get on with their lives and their auditioning process and everything. So the two of you are educators and have a varied background of being performers and singers yourself. You're talking to a lot of educators out here who might not be NATS members. Alisa, tell me why someone should consider joining NATS. What's the biggest benefit for joining NATS?
I think there are two really large benefits, and one is for your students. NATS has a number of applications to different competitions and auditions where you get feedback from professionals. And if you're going to make a career of being a performer, then getting professional feedback is one of the most valuable things you can receive to help you find your way into the profession. The second thing is NATS has many opportunities for teachers themselves, and they range greatly. There are awards and grants that are given annually to members of NATS to help them with different advancements of their career as educators and newly as performers. There is a new grant for people who are both performers and teachers that is just having its debut year this year. And you can find that on the grants page, grants and awards page of nats.org. Just the vast number of opportunities there are for funding and for opportunities to advance your career. And second of all, NATS has a fabulous every 2 years convention, a national
I
convention.
mentioned that it's in July of next year in Texas. Yes? Yeah.
Yeah, in San Antonio. And there are so many opportunities there to meet and talk to people at the top of their career, ranging from their performing to career and our featured highlighted concert artists, as well as people who are experts in repertoire, experts in different genres of music, from musical theater to commercial music to opera to art song to spirituals and Hispanic art song. There is such a range of exposure to experts in a variety of repertoire, to experts in the field of vocal sciences and, discovering more about the human body and how it impacts your ability to sing and perform. And so just the opportunities to grow and learn from experts in their field is frankly unmatched by any other professional organization for teachers of singing.
I see Ellen popped out and is coming back in. Zoom, you gotta love the Zoom. Um, we are going to wrap this up a little bit, but I wanted to ask you why should someone, a teacher and or a student, consider doing this musical theater program that we're doing in January? They can't do it this year. Applications are closed because by the time this gets to air, applications are closed and the preliminaries will probably be already have taken place and everything. But for example, we're doing a master class with Adam Guttle
Mhm.
very soon, but it will again already have happened. But this is an opportunity for young singers to sing in front of a Broadway master, as one of the things that we also present and do. But each of you, I want each of you to answer this. Talk to the student out there. Tell them what Nats can do for them to get them to encourage their voice teacher to go join us.
Well, I think if you're interested, if you're in that 22 to 30 age range and you're interested in getting a step up on your career path, then I think come to the Nydorf Carpati Hall at Manhattan School of Music and watch the finals. It's open to the public and tickets are available on
Ticket link
nats.org.
will be a direct ticket link will be right below this
Yeah.
interview.
And then you can see the quality of Broadway professionals who are serving as the judges live in the room. The five finalists in the competition get to perform a 15-minute showcase of their skills and talents for these judges. And you get a hint of what opportunities you would have through our three levels of competition, who are all levels are judged by Broadway professionals. The exposure you get, the opportunity if you rise through through the competition to perform for 15 minutes before an audience of, New York City and there is such a low cost for entering this competition. It's under $100 to enter. And to get this kind of experience for that money in New York City is just pretty much unheard of. You couldn't get a lesson with one teacher
Exactly, for a hundred
for a
bucks. Yeah,
half hour for that
yeah.
amount of money in New York City. And also, I want to say, not only are there really significant cash prizes, but there are also other prizes which are designed to help you in your career that will be presented after the finals, including like a session with a Broadway experienced headshot photographer and sessions with coaches in New York City
And
who are
headshots
coaching
and a
Broadway
possible,
stars.
yeah, possible cabaret show with the winners. I mean, we have a
Yeah.
lot of in-kind donations that are going to be supplementing the additional cash prizes. Now, Alan, oh, I was just going to ask Alan a question and he popped out again. Um, so right below this interview, I'm going to have all the links for everything. And Alan, if you can come back to us, I wanted to have you have the last word. I see that he's coming back in. We also have had a lot of previous winners who are currently on Broadway, right? Can you speak to a couple of those people while we're waiting for Alan to come back in?
Yes, a judge asked me about past winners, and I was able to compile a list of past winners of this competition. This competition is fairly young as competitions go.
Yeah, Alan said it dates back to 2012, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and it only happens every two
Mhm.
years. So that is not very long for a competition of this status with this amount of prize money. And so it is going to be around for the foreseeable future. And I think that those thinking about it and considering it have nothing to lose by entering this competition.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I don't know if Alan's going to be able to pop back in with us, but That's what we are. National Association of Teachers of Singers, people who care about the voice, people who bring in upcoming professionals and nurture them into either the opera world, the legit world, or now musical theater. So we would love for you to join us. It is Monday night, October 5th, correct? No, listen to me, October,
January.
January 5th. Alan corrected me already. I already said it was January 12th, duh. So January 5th at the Manhattan School of Music.
Which is a Monday night.
Yes,
So
theater's
there
dark, yeah.
aren't many other entertainment opportunities at this level on a Monday night in Manhattan. So feel free to make plans now to attend.
And you can also supplement that by joining us for a very special pre-reception, pre-curtain cocktail party that we're going to have where you can rub a couple elbows with some Broadway stars who will be attending and take a photo or two. So everything will be on the website at the link below, at the nats.org link below, with specific links to purchase tickets. We hope you can join us because as someone who is trying to get into the business as a performer or someone who is teaching these young people, you'll want to attend and see what we do this year so that maybe the next time we do the competition in 2008, you can join us as a participant. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Alisa, for being with us. And Alan, wherever you are, honey, thank you for joining us. I got to talk to Alan a little bit at the top of the interview. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining Nightlife Exchange and Sue's Muse. And have a great day and make some beautiful music. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.